Hello, everybody. I'm Dan Lutz, and I'm here with
Tank?
and we're here on the front lines. We're here just fighting the cabal and all the Illuminadonkeys and all those others that are out there doing crazy things. So, and the battle rages on. So, yeah, I've been kind of keeping an eye on as much as I can this last couple days, and it just seems like so many things happening at the same time, but all on this everything's like on slow motion, right? So it's like I'm waiting for to go fast forward here, like waiting for the next thing to drop. But do you got any news? Anything happening with Kim and what's happening there?
No. No one. I plan to talk to her tomorrow morning, and hopefully I get some solid information that's shareable or not, but just solid information would be good. I would say that you basically have pretty obvious issues, so you can kind of expect the cabal to be reaching their last stand, right? And I did bring it to Kim's attention, a couple of weeks ago about the flow of United Nations troops coming across the border, and I asked her, I said, "Are you going to disable those the same way these frequency devices disable them in that she used in Pakistan, right?" So she used these ships that travel like thousands of miles an hour, and they literally launch a frequency, and they were able to disable the Chinese military vehicles there. So that gives me an incredible amount of confidence that they can do that here as well, and that all of the UN vehicles that have gone into the Sedona area. There's actually reports of caravans, 200 trucks going into a mountainous region that has no place to go. So once you get there, it would be obvious they were there, unless there was an underground base somewhere in the mountains, which there definitely is. And then we know that the 2 miles of UN military vehicles coming up on the train through, I don't know, I know there's like 18 sightings of like Texas all the way to Idaho, right?
Right.
So we know that those vehicles are here, right? We also know that there is a underground pathways to a complete infrastructure that exists underground. Jesse Ventura has actually been inside and talked about it. I've talked to many people who've been, in these places and seen it. Like, it's a full, all the money that was generated in the United States, and yet you see our infrastructure on the surface is crumbling, right? I mean, you have bridges here in New York that they have to shut down for years because they're crumbling. So, where did that money go, right? Well, it went to build this massive underground infrastructure, which, to be quite honest, probably serves a purpose if you really think about it. If it was used, for good, and I believe that will happen. But you have that, and then most recently, when everybody who was listening to us on Monday night, we were live trying to get help to one of our people's family down in down by the border, where I guess where, I don't know if Arizona hits the border or if it's New Mexico exactly, but down by the border, we're right on the border of Mexico and Chihuahua. And what I had said then is that it was the Chihuahua cartel, and then I guess the Sedona cartel got involved. And this is just my opinion and my theory on this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about it. Is that I examined videos very carefully to see what happened, and so by the time they returned from the first vehicle was there was one woman and 6 children in the car, all of which were dead, and the car was burnt, and there was a baby about 8 months old, and there was another car, 2 other cars that had gone back, and when they returned, at some point the alleged cartel pulled up on them, and I looked at bullets, and there was, you got to think there was one woman for each car, and then there was many kids, and the shooters were straight in front of the vehicle, and so they were looking at a woman and a child sitting shotgun, right? And the first shots, you could tell there was about 9 shots fired directly to the shotgun area. So that is very much a hate crime, right? You're specifically looking to. Now,
there's
you're looking to.
Dave Hodges said that one of these, when they had shopped the cars, and I'm going to stop. There was a 14-year-old boy that they cut his heart out. All right, so I mean that's a hate crime. Cut someone's heart out.
Right.
You're trying to cause terror. You're trying to cause. This is over and above, right? This is not like you just did a shootout, right? No, you went after the people for a reason. Dave Hodges is saying that this is all for Cal exit, for California to secede from the Union, right? And they're going to basically ask for the UN help to do so, right? And and this, so I think that there's going to, they're trying to cause people to react, to get violent, because this gives them the reason. This gives the reason.
So I agree, and I will say this, that I do have some other information from the FBI that I'm not ready to share, but what I would say is based on, what do I know, but based on, in my opinion, if I was the FBI and these different groups, what I would be looking into is the orders coming out, in all likelihood, from Minnesota, or wherever the headquarters right now is for Blackwater, who is actually the ones who trained MS-13 and implanted MS-13 in all the banks. And no one's talking, and this could be totally wrong, But in my opinion, the crime is so violent. And you're talking about, MS-13 originates from, Los Angeles, right? California gangs, like from the U.S. But it's such a violent gang because they've been trained differently. But
I thought they were from like El Salvador or something like that originally.
Yeah, that's what they claim. I mean, it's supposed to be a Hispanic, gang that claims that, but it's they're closely involved with the Mexican cartels as well, right? That's what the rumor is, right? And so the MS-13 is the letter M, right? Now I would say the letter M is standing for Marduk, right?
Oh,
and the M is it's Mara Salvatrucha, right? And that goes back to like something like El Salvadorian army ants, right?
Right.
And that they or the furious ants, right? Which is like that they protect each other like angry ants, right? Is what the idea is. And that to me says, well, that sounds like a bond between the mantis, right? These kind of insectoid beings that we hear about, right? And the draconians, right? The 13 dragon families, or Marduk, right? So, and they're loyal to that, and there was a mantis queen that was still here, even though that was, still sat on a board. I don't know if she was here or just where that group meets, but, in my opinion, that's now what we do know is that MS-13 is embedded. Is embedded in the banks, right? So they're one of the big reasons why there's been blocks, and so because we know that if you're going to plan an exit, well, what's your army? Well, I'd say MS-13 is without question a part of it, right? So if MS-13 is a part of it, and you wanted to, ignite a war, right, and cause major backlash, you kill a bunch of women and children, right, and you have an incredibly violent death on top of that. Right now, if I don't want to show any more of the videos. The family is basically said that they didn't want to talk anymore to the media, and we offered, so we've written a very thorough account of the events to get the truth out, so that there's at least somebody has a true account of what happened, right? So, our team has been researching that and writing it up, and then when the family approves, then we'll put it out, but we won't put it out before then, other than just the generic stuff that I'm talking about now, because a lot of this is just my theories, because we spend a lot of time investigating this stuff, but if you think about it, right now, in some of these videos, you can see clearly that the boy in the front was shot up. I mean, overly, like overkill, right? And then because the baby would have been below the window line, they got up on top of the car, fired through the roof down to ensure they killed the baby. Now, when you're doing something like that, you're following orders, right? To kill women and children to make a point, right?
Yep.
Now, if you're trying to make a point like that, you're trying to incite what a danger the cartels are in Mexico and how the cartels are in control and all these things like that, right?
Right.
And we were all over it. We immediately spoke to a Mexican judge who is in our network, and some other military contacts. We got on them to let them know what was going on. And our thought was to avoid an international incident, right? Because you don't want something like that to ignite when we have such a good relationship with Mexico right now. Now, it's known the cartels have been an issue, and there's been a war on crime against the cartels for some time now, about 3 years in Mexico. But the cartels used to, take bodies and, cut them brutally and hang them over a trestle and leave it out there so that no one else would dare stand up to them, right?
Right.
But in this case, based on the other evidence I have, I really do think this somehow will connect back to MS-13, some loyalty there. And I think MS-13 has, a deeper, they're so eccentric with what they're doing. There's something deeper there that they're loyal to. And I think that has to do with kind of the, the cult insanity. Because if you are a cartel, well, and the cartels clearly are part of the trafficking, right? It's right at the border.
Right.
So you got all these kids. I mean, every one of those kids represents money. Why would they kill them all off? They wouldn't. They would have taken them hostage.
Yeah.
And they would have sold them or something else. They would have hid the vehicles. They wouldn't have made it so obviously painful. Left survivors to tell the story and the accounts and make it seem like there was no crossfire though. It wasn't the one of the towns people actually called the Sedona cartel to come in to help, but before they called them to help, and it was after these people were already shot up. It had nothing to do with crossfire. So I mean, they were targeted. And to be honest, I just don't think the cartels would do that. Not saying the cartels aren't ruthless. I'm just saying I just don't think they would.
Yeah.
I mean, these people were living there harmlessly, right? They
obviously was to make a point. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that also Dave Hodges was saying about this was that Nancy Pelosi and Beto O'Rourke were part of this, or basically because they were meeting with the Mexican president and one of those cartel heads. I just actually I don't know, but basically the implication is that they're tied into this as well. They want why is Trump making it an issue to say Nancy Pelosi, go back to your place and get everything straightened out because your place is a mess, right? And he's
right.
trying to point out that one of the worst places is if Nancy Pelosi is such a good leader, why is her place so disrupted, right? Unless it's on purpose, right? Unless she's purposely trying to bring her area under some sort of strife, right? In order for people to rise up and say, we're done with this, right? I also found out 500,000 people last year moved out of California.
Wow.
I mean, that's shocking.
That is shocking.
When I was, first moved to California from Pennsylvania, it was because California was the place everyone wanted to go to because that's where you'd have the most opportunity. Right? It was the go-to place. Had all the tech, everything started there. What's happened? Democrats got into power, and look, it's all turning to garbage. Everything. Anytime there was like a Republican governor, the state did well. But it looks like it's all it all comes down. It looks like I think that they've rigged the elections for such a long time because who would vote for it, right? They've been slowly gaining more and more control over the election apparatus, and so now they've had this total control. Now this Kentucky governor's race, it's also looking like they've discovered. This was on Alex Jones Infowars that they were saying that they have the evidence showing, and they had interviewed with people that for the people that said that they've already moved out of the state, they've removed themselves for the voter rolls, but they've ended up voting. Right, and there was a lawsuit that forced 175,000 people who were previously voters to be put back on the voter rolls and it was without their permission. And this happened just 6 months ago. So before this governor's election, so he only lost by 4,000 votes, but I bet they're going to find out that a lot of people voted that or not, and I think they're going to go into this. I think that this governorship is going to move back into the Republican or stay in the Republican hands, and it's going to be the reason to have voter ID. I think that's what we're going to see happening here. I think this is the test case, as everyone else voted. All the other with the 5 other major offices in the state all went Republican. Right, so but the governor, everyone decided, well, we'll vote for Republican on all these except for the governor. You know, I think in general people know that they're voting for Republican is to save the country right now.
Yep. I mean, there really has to be something that says, at some point it's like, okay, we're gonna try some logic here. So basically your plan, the Democratic plan to for the next election, and if they get control, is to do away with America altogether.
It's so
So we have absolutely free borders. You have the Nation of Islam is basically taking over in Minnesota, Minneapolis, marching, but making it very clear, like what they do in every other country, right? Which is take over and make everyone who's there feel uncomfortable. This is all mapped out very skillfully in the book called Practical Idealism, the Islamatization of Europe. It's happening here as well. And also you have, actually Elaine Keller. She wrote a whole, paper. I just wanted to read a book on it actually, talking about this other guy's book that breaks down all the different things that are absolutely true inside of the Islamic culture, right? Like anytime you say anything about Islam, then you're a racist, right? That's the methodology, which is also the methodology of the Zionist Jews, right? So anytime you say anything to identify who you're talking about, and you mention something about them being Jewish, you're an anti-Semite, right? And now the latest one is anything that is said about anyone if you're white, all white people, just by the nature of being white, your white privilege, if you're a man, oh my gosh, forget it, you're toxic white masculinity. Pretty soon being a white guy is going to be a crime, like in Boston.
I think that's why Beto was pretending to be Latino.
Right. Beto O'Rourke, raised in the bloodline cabal.
Yeah.
O'Rourke, I mean, he's not Irish. Yeah. So it's all hilarious. All this different stuff. But things keep coming. They keep playing this game. Anybody looking to vote American, it's really not about Democrat and Republican. It's about American or anti-human. Where do you stand, right?
Right.
It's freedom or genocide. These are the options. And I'll tell you, I'm really going to be pushing over, no matter what happens, if we get funded tomorrow, I'm still going to be pushing to make this conversation mainstream. And we will, make sure that we have media outlets that will demolish the sham that is ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, all of these different, ridiculously fraudulent mind control cultural guidance centers, that dish out propaganda and lies. I mean, they hardly even mention anything that's true, right? There's hardly anything that they're saying that even resembles the truth.
Yeah, well,
every subject they talk about, they spin.
Well, even like the Donald Trump Jr. on the View, right? And they're telling him, well, what you did was illegal, right? Which was to retweet someone else saying the name of Eric Charamella, right? The whistleblower, right? Oh, you outed them. That's illegal, right? And this no, and he just happened to bring his lawyer girlfriend online to say also no, it wasn't illegal, and it's only illegal for the inspector general to release the name, right? But not for anyone else. So,
right.
But they blatantly lied, right? Well, I've got a law degree out of a Cracker Jack box, I think, or cereal box.
They've got a law degree, but none of them know the Constitution. None of them know the law of the land. All they know are the statutes and ordinances that they create as they go.
Well, it's not even by statute or ordinance, right? It's not against the ordinances or the statutes that were put in place, quote unquote law that they were speaking about. It's only for the inspector general not to be able to release the name, and that's but. Other people releasing it, there's no law against it. So now they want to claim that it is. So they're trying to, now just make that into, this is the new law. This, at whim, just make a new law, right? And I'm sure that...
Well, yeah. the way the law really states is that President Trump has the right to face his accuser, right? I think that's Sixth Amendment.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so, I don't really care if you have, and then on top of that, it's like, well, why is it that all of your accusers are deep state Democrats that are embedded in the cabinet, and they think they've outplayed President Trump when they do this, we've got somebody on the inside. No, you don't. You've got somebody on the inside who they are using against you, and President Trump is, just way ahead of him. Like, you think he didn't know what he was doing when he hired these people from Obama's cabinet? That they were loyal to the order of, Obama was named the Pindar, right? He was the penis of the dragon, right? Like, he was the big guy, So the Pindar, yielded unlimited power in these circles of, Satanism and baby eating. It's like, this was their thing, right?
It's
like everybody loves it in that whole world.
Yeah, I just wonder if, saying that you're the Pindar, I wonder if someone else was, well, I'm the head of the dragon, right? I'm the tail of the dragon. Are there other body parts of the dragon that you have to, concern yourself with? Or is there only talking about the Pindar, only the penis?
Well, they don't know it's the penis of the dragon. Kim is the one out of that. She said it just to let them know how small they were. Because they have, exalted themselves above Kim because they control the face of things.
Right.
But Kim was like, you were 13 levels below me. You weren't even at the meetings I was at. You didn't even know what was going on.
You mean Kim said that they had a small penis?
No, I said.
Oh, okay. I'm just clarifying here.
I told them that the Pindar means the penis of the dragon.
Right, and you said that makes it how small they are, right? That's what you said. So
I'm
just
exactly, yeah. But it's like.
Okay, Sid, you don't have to come on.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the Sid face. But I mean, I'll tell you, this is actually, it was a great video. Sid's got a great way of going back into our archives. And she pulled up this article that Kim shared with us January of 2018. But I mean, we were just talking for maybe a month, right? And she put out all of these pictures and things that nobody has, right? They're not anywhere. They're things that she took personally from inside the family vaults, right? So everybody that talks about it, she was in taking pictures because she's the one that has access, So she put all this stuff out there to show them, look, I have all this. I'll make you think you're important because, she's like, you got your red book, your blue book, your black book. She goes, yeah, I have all those.
Send me that. So I would like to take a look.
Sure. But basically, Kim has been upstaging them over and over again. What they've done, though, successfully, so far, is they've managed to keep, our message relatively suppressed, right? I mean, it gets out, obviously, right? But there's still an element. It's like, obviously, they're blocking us.
We're on the slow roll.
Yeah, it's like, we just did a show with Dominic Izzo, right? And I'm like, we got that connection from some people that were politically connected, right? And they were thrilled we got out there. Because none of them, everybody's afraid to talk about it. And then in Chicago, it was amazing. This guy's he's a truther up in Chicago, right? But you got to think, all the news is regional, right? Everything that people know, it's crazy. So I forget how much how much evidence we brought out. But we were talking to him, and as we're talking to him, his mind was blown as we were sharing information. So I don't know. And so, in my opinion, this is what is inevitable. This has to happen. We have to get things out that are hard to talk about, and they're trying to normalize deviant behavior like pedophilia, and I'll tell you something else too. This didn't come out yet, but I don't think publicly. But this judge, right? This Judge Durant, right? Who took the mother's baby and the two little kids and gave them over to the known admitted abuser based on the recommendation of a GAL who thought she had the right to overrule the doctor's recommendation and the domestic violence expert from the police department, and saying that she was suffering from PTSD and she might kill her kids. This was her claim, right? So you could, and I'll tell you, Michelle Walker's already identified 7 other cases like this, where custody's been awarded to father, right? In cases that are corrupt, though, they're not. Something's not right, right? And so this is a common practice. Now, this judge also owns a trucking company. That's an incredible convenience if you're trafficking kids, right?
Yeah.
He also owns a pizza shop.
Oh my.
Right? It's starting to get there. He
Sure.
also, 10 times a year, he brings over 12 to 14-year-old boys from Europe to stay with him for 3 weeks at a time. Right?
Nothing suspicious about that.
He's also gay. No judgment, just saying he's gay. I would say probably a gay pedophile in this case, but a pedophile nonetheless, right? And he's definitely, and I would say he's definitely assisting the Clinton child trafficking ring, right? So what happens to Dominic Izzo, like all of a sudden now on the Facebook page, people are trying to go see it, and it's glitching out, they can't see it, right? Because we just dropped bombs on Chicago, and we called them out by name, and they think they're going to bury it. Let me tell you something. They are out of their mind if they think they're going to bury this. We already got contacted by Liberty News. We're getting contacted by other people, and we got all the politicians fired up because Dominic Izzo's got sway.
Yeah.
The guy's he used to be a cop, and he's got a voice up there, and he's bringing this stuff out. He's got guys all over it. He's got people all over that.
Wonderful.
And also Brian Urlacher, the former All-American linebacker for the Bears. His sister is big into stopping the child trafficking, and she found out she's advocating. I'm like, all right, little headway there. I like that.
Yeah.
But I'd like to tear that place up, though. Because
I think
you got to make noise.
Yeah, I think this is again, it's a slow roll, right? But I think once we get really the steamroller rolling down the hill, it's just going to be falling at gravity speed until we hit the retro rockets and and really blast right through them, because this is this cannot be contained. This is evil wanting to come out of the shadows, right? To just show how much power they have, right? And this is their downfall, right? They because they cannot stand the light. Then the reality is they want to be in the light, right? They want it to come out of the shadows, but their power is only out of this darkness, but they can't help but wanting to be in the light. And then that's what what happens to a vampire when he gets into the sun. He bursts into dust, and it's in their own messaging. They should watch their own messaging that they put out there into the world, right? They're going to burst.
It's gotten so bad. I mean, it's gotten so bad that they don't even have anything. It's like, think about it. If you're covering up your own child trafficking and pedophile crimes, I thought, what nerve, right? Jim Jordan. Now, Jim Jordan was a 4-time All-American wrestler, 2-time national champ, right? The guy's a beast, right? And I love wrestlers because wrestlers, like Forbes magazine said in 2006, the best college athletes to hire are college wrestlers because nobody has to motivate them to do anything. They're not in it necessarily for the money. They're self-motivating, right? So yeah. I'm a fan. And so Jim Jordan, he was the assistant wrestling coach at that time for Ohio State, right? Now, while he's the assistant wrestling coach, right, some referee tells him that one of the doctors was caught, pleasuring himself or something, right? And they're trying to make it a big sexual misconduct crime. I'm like, are you kidding me? You got a bunch of college wrestlers. There is nobody more badass than a college wrestler. I'm sorry. You look at all the UFC. The guys who always stay on top the longest are wrestlers, and they learn how to punch. But it's hard to teach somebody who all they do is punch or kick to teach them how to wrestle. But the wrestlers are, they always win. Matter of fact, I remember this is my favorite UFC fight. When the UFC was completely brand new, back in 1996, you had this guy, Dan Severn, and he was going up against this big, huge, 6'6", shoot fighter, and he was like the champ, right? But Dan Severn got injured in practice, so he sent his like 5'5", practice guy, who's like the guy he would whoop up all the time in practice. He shows up to the fight. Everybody's like disappointed. Dan Severn's not going to be there, and so the other guy was thinking he was going to whoop him, because he was a champ. This little 5'5" wrestler, he shot in on this big dude over and over again, and he did a double leg takedown with a straight head blast to the guy's chest about 9 times. He'd get on top of him and just pummel him over and over again. And he was just a practice guy. So, I don't know. I mean, I just think about that kind of stuff. It's like, it's like you just, it's like, so my point in saying that, and, telling too much of a story, is that you're not going in as a wrestling coach to think the poor wrestlers are being sexually harassed, because that's never going to happen. That this whole idea is so idiotic that they're trying to make it seem, they're trying to sully his name. He shouldn't be over anything. Everybody who does that, you are outing yourself as the cabal. You're an idiot, because anybody, there is nothing to this.
I'm just also thinking that since I don't watch Alex Jones too often, I just happened to stumble onto it on an autoplay on YouTube, and I started listening. It's talking about Roger Stone's trial and everything, and how they're denying Roger Stone like so much due process, just like they're doing to Trump, right? And he can't talk about it. The jurors are not allowed to watch TV, so why can't he be on TV? There's all this gag orders and other things that preventing him from being able to do things inside the court. The judge is like conspiring with the prosecutors. It's almost ridiculous to see that it's happening everywhere. But I think that Trump can ultimately step in the very end of this and help Roger out. So I'm not really worried that that's going to happen. I'm just I think this is like one of the battlegrounds. It's like they're literally trampling the Constitution everywhere they can right now. It's like no holds barred. They don't have an option anymore. There's no more slowing down. They've got to go full throttle on their whole plans, because they know that that Trump is going to win. So they're going to have to steal elections. They're going to have to just try and smash everything and just go full forward right now, as if Hillary was in office.
Right. I mean, the only thing they can do right now is to make the news, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they're right now trying to rally troops. But let's face it, they have no way to leverage anything. Their system is down, right? They had Echelon and Anna. This is where all your passports, your birth certificates, your license, all your registration numbers, all your license numbers, all your UCC codes. You know what that means? Humanity's free. I mean, think about it. This is how you register as all slaves. This is as much of a chain around us, right? This is how the souls were collected from people. Everybody out there, all of you, everybody working for the other side, all you mercenaries, because you think you're going to get your soul back, Kim just gave it back to you. She took down the system. You want to actually redeem yourself? Stop working for pedophile scumbags who are butchering kids.
That would be a good start. That'd be a good start. They got a lot to account for, so they can start there. Just time to flip. It really is. Trump is doing so much, right? And so the more that you get, that we help at this point, the faster we end their pretend roles. They don't even have the authority anymore. They're just pretending they do. They can't move money. Oh well, their whole system is based on them moving money and controlling it. They don't have it. Then they're pretending.
Now it's not to say that there's not some tough guys in the cabal who do bad things, right? Who are being paid as mercenaries. That's true, they exist. But the time of being, now every one of those guys, smart enough, right? Really smart enough, because you're never getting paid for them. So what are you doing the dirty work for, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is, now it's become so obvious. I can tell almost immediately who's like, who's going to win and who's going to lose, who's part of the cabal or who's part of the whatever you want to call it, the greater alliance, let's say, to actually do some good, or who wants to do good, because I've got people that want to reach out to me from all over the world, right, who just want to do the project. They just want to do something good, right?
Right.
But then I'll have people here or different places, and I'll ask them something simple, and all of a sudden they go dark. I'm like, that's because you're compromised. And because you're compromised, you're talking to some weird satanic, witch that is telling you, like, don't touch him, he's the darkness, we will rule, or whatever nonsense they're filling your head with, right? We are the Order of the Black Sun, we're the Jesuits, we're the leprechauns, follow us. I mean, whatever it is that they're into,
But watch out for them leprechauns.
Right. Like, you know what? This is a war, for the soul of humanity. And the devil doesn't win this one, Like, he's had his time. And look, and you know what? To their credit, they did a great job enslaving humanity for a long time. But that's ending now, and that's exciting. That's exciting. And that's a reality that people have to embrace and stop spending so much time consumed with the minuscule nonsense that they're talking about. All of that's real. If you don't have the ability to digest that and then do something about it, don't even read it.
Yep.
Because all it's going to do is make you feel more helpless. But, if you have the character and the integrity, the courage to actually step up and do something, go ahead. Take action. Now's the time to take action. Now's the time when you're going to see things break through that have failed a million times before. Now is the time when you literally are going to watch things drop like dominoes, and everybody's going to rush to help you. Mm-hmm. That's amazing to me.
Yep. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm amazed, but not surprised. I see that this is the time that we've been opening up the door to the light, and it's been coming through all this time, right? And they're just flailing around like vampires, and as the light comes through, streaming through the ceiling, as we take a machine gun to the roof, right? They're just moving aside. Oh, we're still evil over here, and they move over to this corner, and they move over to that corner, and but they don't have the power that they had. It's gone, but they just it's old habits die hard. They're doing what they know, and it's only when they just can't do anything they still will act as though they still have the power, and get a few people to go along with them, and just because they always had the power, and that's all it is. I know when I was talking with my banking partners in England, I say, well, the Rothschilds, they don't have power like they used to. I mean, they've made comments like that. And I said, when did that start? It's over the last 10 years. Oh, you mean like since 2008? When they no longer had access to the trust, they just started, drifting, where they just can't get things done anymore. They can't move money. Yeah, of course, they have their own personal fortunes and all this and that, and they have positions and ownership of banks or whatever that gave them position and things to do. But that all runs out. They can only push it to a certain point. It's just like the Federal Reserve no longer has a charter. Like, oh, did anyone think to check? Oh, they need to have a new charter. Know anyone talking about that? No. Why not? Why isn't it brought up in front of the Congress? Oh, it's time to have a new charter for the Federal Reserve. It expired a couple of years ago. Actually, do you know what year it expired?
Years. It was 2014.
2014.
But it was But it was officially recognized by Kim in 2018, in September 2018.
Recognized, officially?
Recognized, like she made it more public to everyone, right?
Oh.
She basically said, look, we're taking away, see, because they don't have a charter, they don't have the legal right to hold other people's money, right? That's why you need a banking license in general. They don't have a license, they don't have a charter. You know, they're not a bank, they're not a thing anymore, right? You know, not the the entity of terror that they were, you know, and then, like, I mean, you know, I'm not sure exactly the game plan here with what Kim wants to do. I just don't fully understand it, right? I'm going to talk to her tomorrow. I'm going to ask her because I'm like, one, don't give these people anything, even if they do cooperate. I mean, like, they're still the same, you know, like, you know, pedophile, or like, even if they're not direct pedophiles or child murderers or satanic cult members, they've still endorsed it. They're the sponsor. I mean, what's the difference, right? Like, you sponsor shows that you're in alignment with what they do, right? Well, they're the sponsor for, you know, human trafficking, you know, child trafficking, child rape, you know, murder, genocide. Like, this, it was their plan, right? Their grand plan of all the options presented. What they failed to realize is what makes this entire planet amazing is the people, you idiots, right? So you save the people. You know, that's what matters more than the, you know, I mean, you know, the planet itself is its own living entity, so it's equally important, I guess. But, you know, but in my experience, it's like it's the people. The people on the planet are connected. You can't destroy the people and not expect to destroy the planet. So, I don't know.
Yeah. That.
As for me, as far as them having money, you know, like Kim and stuff, like, you know, if they have money, like, she set it up now, so they can't do anything. So them having money, I guess, it's like, oh, well, they're going to do regular business. So what? Now they get to live well and conduct business like regular people after all the horrible crimes they've committed against everyone? No. Like, you know what? Every dime that comes in, I personally, at least with our projects, I will make sure our projects will build from the ground up. We will never do business with them. And you know what? And I guess it's unavoidable on some level, but as far as actually them stopping us from having a production line, that crap will never fly ever again. I mean, we just have to do better. We have to empower many people to be amazing instead of a very small group to be mediocre and control the one thing that everybody needs. So, and on top of that, you know, it's like they've had this advantage of getting all this technology and things like that, and this stuff is still kept from us. And yeah, we'll talk to them about that tomorrow too. So I'm like, you know, why they've had access to all this technology, all this money, all this stuff for all these years, right? Well, you know what? Humanity, at least those who are ready, right? Because I'll take my intelligence, my abilities, my innate whatever, my integrity, any day of the week over any of them. Any day of the week, they want to. You know, I hear about how amazing they are. Really, they've been given every possible advantage, and they held us as slaves. That's amazing. It's amazing we let it happen. It's a tragedy, you know. So I'm personally underwhelmed by them and the mediocre tactics they've used for however long.
Right.
And, you know, I've watched one woman take the entire order down that they spent, you know, 16,000 years building. And I'd say she's more amazing than all of them combined.
Yeah.
In 7 years. And really in 2 years. I mean, because really she's done the most damage in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, the most damage and the most good. The most damage to them, most benefit to us the past 2 years.
Right.
So.
And we're here, you know, this is our 245th broadcast there. Yeah. So we're, you know, taking this one step at a time, pushing forward. We're able to go ahead and make this difference by having other people take steps. You know, so Kim can lead the way. You know, bring the.
I will say this, yeah, everybody out there, go. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I was just saying it's all it takes is to start moving forward. That's it. Take your step.
All right.
You're on the dark side. You've been going down the wrong side. Time to reevaluate.
Go to the nationallibertyalliance.org and sign up to contribute. Put your mark out there in the digital world that you are willing to stand up and be a representative of, something bigger. Even if that's not the body we use, because I'm not married to any of these bodies. If we have to start from scratch, we will. There's the Republic, Republick. They have a government set up to implement here, right? It's more aligned. It's in line with the Constitution. The National Assembly, which is all over the place, right? They're all in the nation, but most dominant up in like the Michigan area. You have the Rus organization, which is questionable. I don't know much about them, but to me, just the very intention of contributing to do something about this is necessary. It's needed. Just even in the programming of the massive AI, as the AI gathers and maps every single thing that's taking place, right? And as that kind of a surge happens, it ignites something. It creates change in the midst of everything. So why not do something? Have a town hall meeting in your local area, pull people together, and actually discuss what the Constitution says. Hey, read the Constitution and see what your rights are, and start fighting for that, because once you lose them, they're gone forever. Let's do something to make a difference instead of just waiting for someone else to do it and following, internet blog sites and posting on Twitter. Who cares what you say on Twitter? These are all, tactics that are used by the other side. They have somebody get up and talk about an issue, like, oh, they're doing something. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're just talking about it. They're just talking. If people don't offer solutions, and they don't tell you how you can change it, how you can contribute, they are not doing anything. Stop staying quiet. Stop keeping their secrets. Speak up. You can contact us at the Speak Project. We'll put everything out. And you have to attach your name to it. Like, we'll put it out. We just got a huge dump of intel. We got, everything that's ever been scrubbed from the internet, we just got a drop from very good sources. So, and I intend to put all of it on full display as long as it doesn't hurt people. If I feel like it hurts people, I don't put it out. But in general, I think that people are capable of handling the truth, digesting it, and then turning it into action. But I want to be very clear. I don't put anything out, ever, that I'm not looking for what is the actionable step behind this. If it's just novelty, like if I find out JFK is alive, I don't care. Because you know what? I can't do it. It doesn't help me in any way. All it does is get me to sit back in my seat. Wow, now JFK Jr.'s got it. Great. Now I'm good. I don't want to do that. Nor do I want to put anyone else in that situation either, to feel helpless, waiting for JFK Jr. to rise from the dead to, take this seat as the vice president. That doesn't get me involved. It doesn't get you involved. It gets them involved, which is great. It's a great story, right? It's a fun story to talk about and tell. But if that's what you're waiting on, that's got disappointment written all over it.
Right. I'm scrolling through the National Liberty Alliance while you're talking. I'm showing the audience here.
Hey, check the chat room too, because I know that, like I was told, there's a lot of people that have been asking questions and we've been ignoring them. So just make sure that if anybody has questions or answers, whatever.
All right, I'm looking for a question. Anything with a Q in the front. I'm in the chat, so let me look. Keep talking while I'm looking.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that. What's this here? Yeah, so there's just just a lot of things going on. My sons are such sweet. My kids are such sweet kids. They always find ways to make sure to bond with me. So my one son, it's like his thing to bond with me is he'll stay up really late when everybody else sleeps. And he's like, Dad, can we go to Taco Bell? We go to like Taco Bell and watch Netflix at 1, 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you including me in your world.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's wonderful. I haven't been. I used to like. I always resisted Taco Bell. I would always go to Del Taco. I call
yeah, you were in California, though, right?
Yeah, and that's if it was a fast food thing, but there were so many really great places to pick up a burrito in California.
Yeah, sure.
It's like going to one of these others is like, it's really.
I know. There's
a reason why they call it fast food.
You know what? Yeah, but I do love the Mexican food in California, man. So good. So, any questions? Just so I know.
I'm scrolling through. Oh, there's no Q anything here. There's the TQs. It throws me off when they do that, but no questions as of yet.
And we got to bring Robert Allen on maybe tomorrow night. He's got a bunch of stuff that he wants to talk to us about. I also, he did warn me today that YouTube is going to, just start removing content.
Right.
Just FYI. So if you have anything you want to save, anybody out there, you want to download anything, now it's time to do it. I know that we're mirroring our sites to various other platforms, trying to get all that stuff out because, we've put out about 500 videos in the past 7 months or so.
Yeah.
So
no
like
questions.
To keep track of them.
Sorry, there's no questions. So, of course, I'm not going to read the word for word everything, so people did not put any questions there.
All right. Well, gang.
All right.
Anything else, man?
No, we're good. I think we're set. We can adjourn.
We can adjourn. Cool. All right, everybody, have a great night, and should be a pretty amazing week. I'll let you know. All right, Dan. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you as always, and everybody have a good night.
All right. Good night.